This is Katie.
And this is Derrick.
Welcome to the break room. Welcome back to the break room, everyone. I'm Katie Kinder. We are here with some rock star educators. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you teach and tell us anything about yourself as a teacher that we need to know.
Hi, I'm Michelle. This is year 23. I am a counselor right now and predominantly work with our special needs students in our building. So just been at it a long time.
Yeah. You still love it?
Still love it.
After 23 years.
Some days.
Not easy.
Some days I'm like, am I still doing this?
I'm Kathy. I have been teaching for 20 years. I have now reached retirement and I am retiring this year.
Tell us how that feels.
A two-edged sword.
Okay, tell us more about that metaphor.
Well, on one side, man, I am so excited. I'm so glad to get out of the classroom. On the other side, I'm going to miss some of the kids.
Some of them.
Okay, some of them.
Okay. And we also have a spouse of a teacher with us today on the podcast. So tell us your name.
I am Kevin. I'm Michelle's husband.
Tell us about what it is like to be married to a dedicated teacher. How is it difficult?
Married to a dedicated teacher. Well, it is very interesting. It's very educational. First, probably good hour after she gets home, I don't get to say much.
You're not allowed to talk to her.
Right? No, well, it's not that. I have to realize that, I just retired from law enforcement, so I knew that when you come off those days, you have to download. And I just let her download, and she downloads for probably an hour after she gets home. And then, we sort out what has been bothering her, and we go from there.
Because teaching is emotionally exhausting and physically exhausting and psychologically exhausting. And until you've done it, until you've walked in those shoes, you don't really get it. And so that's a lot. And so we thank the spouses too, who stick by us. Even though my husband would never be a teacher, God bless him. He is a numbers guy and puts things in spreadsheets. But he knew as well that I could just send him a text. It was bad day, and he would have pizza and ice cream at the ready. And that's the kinds of spouses we appreciate and celebrate.
There's been many a days that she's come home and the jacuzzi tubs are all ready for her.
My husband's the same way, except he's been carrying my books to school for 52 years. We dated in high school and he carried them to school, and he says he's retiring this year too.
High school sweetheart.
Yes.
Oh, so he has worked in every classroom you've ever been in, I bet.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me the hardest part about being a teacher this year in 2022-2023 school year.
I think for me, the hardest part was the patience.
Okay. Say more about that.
Well, you got to be super patient with these kids, because if you're in middle school like we are, those kids are, I love them dearly, but their hormones are going absolutely nuts.
Yes.
And they don't know how to deal with the fact, oh, I have a boyfriend. What do you think? Right. I don't think you should have a boyfriend.
And then they break up the next day.
Yes.
Oh, it's a romantic tragedy. Yeah.
Well, and 10 years ago, I always felt like the hardest group in middle school to work with were 7th graders, because 6th grade, they're coming in, they're learning how middle school flows. 7th grade was that transition year. You saw the hormones, you saw, the girlfriend, boyfriends. 8th grade, they're starting to come down off that. They're getting ready for high school. They're seeing that bigger picture. And I feel like this year and even last year, it was more our 7th and 8th graders that were really struggling,
Do you feel like it's the pandemic? Do we just feel like everything's kind of been amplified and they're...
Yeah, I think coming off of COVID has really, magnified some of those things. But I also feel like some of the difficulties that we've seen with, a decrease in test scores, that was happening before the pandemic ever hit. And so it's how do we come back from that, and how do we restructure our teaching in our classrooms to get them back where we know they're capable of performing, and building their self-confidence. A lot of kids coming into our schools right now have so little self-confidence in themselves. They don't believe they can do it.
And you feel like that's part of our job is to instill some of that confidence back in them.
I really do.
I hate to say it, but as teachers, we're counselors, we're mamas, we're teachers, we're psychologists, and we're, oh no, yes, it'll be okay, I promise. This too shall pass. But I think back to what you said about the 6th and 7th graders. I believe strongly that they're in that middle child syndrome, because now 5th grade is at middle school, 8th grade is top, 5th grade's bottom, and then there's these kids in the middle.
Well, the last group that was in here said that 7th grade they think is the hardest grade because the kids have lost their minds. Their frontal cortex is it's gone, and they don't know how to behave at all. And so you ask a kid, why did you throw that pencil and then slap your friend? And they're like, I don't know. They really don't know.
No. And when you see them do something and you say, hey, come here. Why did you do that? Well, I didn't do anything. I just saw you hit him. I just saw you throw this.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. Okay, let's think about this. Did you have a pencil? Yes. Did you throw it? Yes. Did it hit him? Yes. So you did it? No.
But we're seeing that with the 5th graders this year. I mean, these 5th graders this year are kind of like, I'm an adult. I can do what I want.
I'm an adult. I'm 11.
And I'm going, okay, then I tell you what, here's the money that you can make in my class. But for every time you do something you're not supposed to, you got to pay me back. Mm-hmm. But I said, welcome, you're an adult. Welcome to the real world, honey.
That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you guys. And I love that this has been my first year out of the classroom. And so coming to see you guys is my highlight of my whole year. And just being with the kids and being with you. And we just are really grateful. See, I have a cry couch. When I was an instructional coach, I would have the teachers come in and come and cry with me. I'm like, come here, baby, my baby teachers. And so part of our logo for this podcast, The Break Room, there's a cry couch on the logo because it's hard and it's messy. And we appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming on.
We had that. I had that first year teacher one year. She was the baby. All of us were 10-year plus at this point. And I finally had to go to one of our partners and say, okay, she has cried me out. It is somebody else's turn.
It's your turn to take on the crier.
She's cried me out, because she was struggling, and it's hard with our first year teachers, especially when they're emergency certified now.
Well, and I just heard that they've done away with the mentor program where they were assigned a mentor that they got a stipend for, and that's gone. So maybe we should bring that back. We're just going to put that out into the universe.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that would help is to have the older, this sounds bad, the elder teachers go and talk with them instead of, oh, well, I'm an older teacher. Let them figure it out. I had to figure it out. That doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. And we eat our young. I say that. I'm like, stop eating your young. Mm-hmm. Stop it. Because they need you. And they don't feel like they can even step out of their room to ask for help. They don't know what they don't know.
That's what's good about it, Moon. All the 5th grade teachers know they can step out and ask. And somebody in that group will have the answer or find the answer.
Well, I think it's that way just in our building in general, because, I've had, as a counselor, even teachers come in and sit down with me and they're like, okay, so what can I do? And so I can pull out my toolbox from being a teacher. Well, try this, try that. And I just feel like we've worked really hard to build that relationship within our teachers. So
that's awesome. And I think that's rare. And so we appreciate you having that space, and good luck in retirement.
Thank you.
We hope that you are on a beach with your toes in the sand and No,
I'm going to San Antonio to see my mom.
Okay. I like it. Well, wherever you are, we love that you're
always
put your toes
in the Riverwalk.
Put your toes in the river. Maybe not.
This is Derrick.
This is Katie.
And this is
The Break Room.